You mentioned the 70 countries or so. I'm curious, though, under what conditions at this point would President Trump talk to President Xi about tariffs?
Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. But the president believes that Xi and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
So China has to call first?
The Chinese want to make a deal. They just don't know how to do it. But the president will be implementing these 104% tariffs on China tonight.
Under what conditions might he consider lowering tariffs on China at this point?
It would be imprudent of me to tell you those conditions here from the podium.
We have massive breaking news right now. Donald Trump and the Trump administration have announced that a 104% tariff will go into effect against China at midnight after China missed its deadline of noon today to roll back its own 34% tariffs on American goods. This is a significant escalation. 104% tariff, which will mean that costs will go up across the board on everything America imports from China, but especially things like electronics, your Apple iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, all of those are going to go up tremendously in price. In addition, textiles, toys, clothing, so much more will be impacted by this. These tariffs will take effect at midnight tonight or 12:01 a.m. tonight. These are retaliatory tariffs. They're 104%. Prices could theoretically double, triple in some instances because of these tariffs. Donald Trump is not backing down. We are in a trade war with China, which means TikTok could be impacted.
What do you make of China's response? What does it mean for the everyday American?
I mean, this is a refusal to back down. And I also think China is sending a message to other countries that they could be an alternative to these protectionist measures from the U.S. Now, what does that mean for consumers? It means likely that prices are going to go up. I mean, think about it. Just do the math. We just mentioned a 50% tariff on top of a 54% tariff. Businesses are not going to be able to absorb all of that. They're going to have to pass some of that on to consumers. Maybe companies can source from other countries that still have a tariff not as big as China. But, I mean, this is really becoming a who's going to blink first situation.
You know, the president keeps saying that these tariffs are a way of bringing manufacturing back to this country. Do you see that happening?
Well, it's going to take a very long time, okay? Years, sometimes as much as 4 years. It's going to take hundreds of billions of dollars. But on these smaller island nations, for example, economists I'm talking to are saying that's not going to bring production here. You know, this is more about creating tariff revenue. Maybe a country like a Vietnam or a China, but on a smaller island nation, this is about creating government revenue.
So it's now a game of who blinks first? Both sides are dug in.
Mm-hmm.
I just watched the video of the White House girl, y'all know who I'm talking about, where she was stating that the U.S. was about to impose a 104% tariff on China. So we just asked ChatGPT, what exactly does this mean for us if this were to happen? And it stated that if Trump were to impose this 104% tariff on Chinese goods, basically the companies importing products from China would have to pay a tax, a tariff. That would amount to 104%. So let's just say something cost $100 here in the USA. Now the people importing would have to pay a $104 fee just to send these products over here, which now makes the product go up to $204. This would literally raise the price of Chinese products in the US potentially like just double. You're literally going to pay double for everything. This is $50. Nah, bro, it's $104, $125. Let's just say girl is right. And they do actually impose these 104% tariffs on China. This would be a really sharp escalation in the trade conflict, and it would only indicate a strong economic confrontation. The trade war is here.
The last couple of days have been nothing but tariffs and financial news. China seems to be in the most heat when it comes to negotiating with the U.S. Here's the craziest development. Just now, the U.S. has initiated a 104% tariff on China that just kicked in, straight from the White House, and is a big escalation in the U.S.-China trade war. This move follows China retaliation last week, slapping 34% tariffs on U.S. goods after Trump's initial tariff announcement, which already had global markets tanking. $5 trillion have been wiped out of stock market value since last Wednesday. China's calling it bullying, even seeking World Trade Organization intervention, while the White House says they're open to talks, but only if China makes the first move. Experts still claim this could lead to a global recession, with JP Morgan pegging odds at 60%, but it is dropping as the market responds. U.S. stocks are hurting bad. The S&P 500 is down 18.9% from February's high, nearing the bear market territory, and China's GDP growth forecast just got slashed to 4.2% for 2025 by Citi. Trump's team is doubling down, saying this protests American interest, but critics like Fed Chair Jerome Powell warn it'll likely lead to higher inflation and slower growth for everyone. Meanwhile, China's restricting rare earth exports. Think batteries, tech, EVs, and fast fashion giants like Temu and Shein are about to get hit really hard with these new U.S. tariffs. So there goes dropshipping. It's probably why TikTok Shop is going to take over now. This trade war has been brewing since Trump's first term, when he imposed tariffs on over $380 billion of goods. Now it's full-on economic showdown with global stakes.
President Trump just hit China with a total of 104% tariffs on imported goods. And the White House says more could be coming. Here is how we got here. China imposed a 34% tariff on U.S. exports. Trump then responded last week on Liberation Day with a 20% increase that raised ours to 54%. And now he's adding another 50% effective tonight at 12:01 a.m. This affects electronics, steel, aluminum, solar panels, and much more. All of it aimed at protecting the American worker and forcing fair trade. The White House says that China has been warned for years, and this is Trump's answer to decades of one-sided trade deals. Do you support going this hard on China, or is it too much for our economy?
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. President Trump is making headlines again, but this time with a proposed 104 tariff on Chinese goods. Yeah, he had me right. Trump says the massive tariff is meant to bring manufacturers back to America and punish unfair trade practices. But experts are warning, this move could trigger serious economic blowback for both countries. In the US, prices could spike, especially for everyday items made in China. Things like phones, appliances, and even groceries. Meanwhile, China could face export losses, job cuts, and retaliate with its own tariffs. Supporters call it a long overdue correction. Some are celebrating, but critics says it's a war trade that could hurt small businesses and affect global supply chain. Prices of goods would definitely double or triple, and companies would feel the heat. But I think America will get burnt more than China. What do you think? Is a 104 tariff a bold move that America needs, or economic self-sabotage? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like and subscribe for more global economic updates.